What is happening, everybody? Welcome to the Friday night Hacking Leadership. My name is Nick Couch. I'm an independent promoter with Pruvit. This is my good friend and fellow promoter, Becky Mann. We are bringing to you tonight how and why to push, challenge yourself and your team. So I want to start off by saying the statements and opinions expressed herein have not been approved or adopted by Pruvit Ventures Incorporated, and these are our own opinions and views. And we're going to get started. So we want to open up. I'm a pro champ, rank 7 promoter with Pruvit. This is Becky. She is a rising champ. She is new to the team, but she is on fire, rocking and rolling. And I'll let her give a little quick introduction to her background and why I chose Becky to bring this topic to you tonight.
Hello. Hey, I'm a 15-year leader that has been spending time building teams. I'm the vice president of a 50-year-old company for the past 3 years, and I have a master's degree in clinical psychology.
So literally Becky's job, her career, the last 15 years, she's traveled the country and the world building and developing teams for nonprofits, and that's what she does for a profession, and that's what we do here at Pruvit. And we just collaborated on some topics because we discovered through Becky's first reboot experience that she learned a lot more about herself and her behaviors, and what we're going to talk about tonight. Besides all the amazing benefits of the reboot, she learned some other things in her life. So I want to start off by talking about basically it's almost like the 4 or 5 C's. The Pruvit culture. We're going to talk about being content, challenging yourself and your team, consistency, and I thought I had another one, but anyways, so
how to cultivate
all this. So let's think about Pruvit and ketones. So we still have an amazing formula, the Orange Dream 2.1. It's amazing. It's still a phenomenal formula. It probably still kicks a lot of our competitors' butt. So let's just think about it. If Brian Underwood would have been content with Orange Dream Ketones gives people amazing results, we would have never came out with Chocolate Swirl. If we would have been content with Chocolate Swirl, we would have never came out with Max. If we would have been content with Max, we would have never brought to you Unleashed. And if we would have been content with all 4 or 5 of those things, we would have never brought you Keto Nat. And then we would have never developed the Reboot Kit. We would have never pushed the bar and came out with our own MCT oil. We would have never done any of this stuff. We would still be drinking the old original keto cream, except for now we have the new sweet cream. It has the C-Med in it. When you think about Pruvit, Brian Underwood is not content. He's not content with where we're at. He wants to keep raising the bar. We're staying innovative so we can keep leading the keto conversation, so we can continue to be the category king. So why don't you open us up with being content?
Right. So a couple of things that you kind of need to look at and think about is how much you know about yourself. Where are you? What have you become content with? How do you know if you're even content? And once you determine that, hey, I've been come here, and it might be that, hey, you know what, I'm completely content with what my rank is or who my team is, or continuing to work with the smart ship orders that are coming and not focus on new volume. Or are you necessarily content with your weight loss? We're going to have a little bit of an example here in a little bit about when you decide to set a goal and what happens, and talking about how do you determine yourself. What do I do to challenge myself? How do I ensure I don't become content? I'm not content that I'm happy where I am, and we don't push ourselves. Because when you become content, you don't allow yourself to grow anymore. You're not innovative. You stop the ideas. And it's easy to become content because when you're on top of something, you are already on top of the world with the Orange Dream. Why move on? Well, because if you don't continue to move on,
somebody else will come in and
someone else
beat you to it.
Right.
And it's true. Like, so many of us get stuck with management mode. We've all heard Brian James talk about this. Like, now that you have a big team and you have promoters that you're comfortable working with, and you have smart ships and all this volume that comes automatically, what if that person stops their smart ship? Like, you have to constantly be bringing in new volume. And if you look at it, are you still leading your leaderboard in new volume? Are you keeping up with the other people in your team's new volume? Like, I like to use volume because it's an accurate number that shows your activity and your results. So if you become content because you have a big team and you're working with the same people, you're not going and finding new people in your team to work with and trying to sort and sift through those, you become content. And then you have to try and start all over. Whereas if you just keep challenging yourself to beat your old record or have a minimum standard, like every month I'm going to get this much no matter what, no matter if Christmas is coming, no matter if it's my birthday, no matter if it's this or that. And how do you know? Like, you need to evaluate you have to evaluate on a regular basis. Like, am I keeping up with what's going on? Am I doing these things? I'm not trying to get into the daily method of operations because that's a whole nother Zoom series that we do on Mondays, but you really have to evaluate like your behaviors and what you're doing. And like, sometimes we start making excuses that, oh, I'm not going to get new volume because it's happening here. Like I've got these people doing this, or we start making excuses, and then we become even lazier and even more content. And then it's almost to the point with like the employee mentality. Like, you go to work, you take orders from your boss, you go home, you repeat. You go to work, you take orders, you go home, you repeat. It's like the spin cycle. And like, we all are destined for more. We all have more greatness inside of us. We all have so much more potential. And most of us know David Goggins because he comes to the events and speaks. He talks about the 40% rule. Most of us are only applying about 40% of our actual effort. And we have so much more that we can accomplish. Like, we just got to get out of this comfort zone and raise the bar and challenge ourselves, challenge our team, set some contests, do some incentives like for this month, whoever has the most new volume. And then look at your team. Are the people that are leading the new volume contest, are they the same people? Are they the new people? Are they the old people? Like, if you have studs on your team or rock stars on your team, why aren't they on the new volume leaderboard? Maybe you need to get with your leaders of your team and help them assess that, hey, you've become content. You're not reaching out and getting new people to the keto conversation because you've become content. So you also have to work with your leaders. This is a leadership Zoom. And you have to look at yourself, look at your team, and assess everybody on a regular basis, or it will happen and unfold really quickly right before your eyes.
I think the other important part about challenging yourself is also taking care of yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself and understanding what it is that you need, and you're not 100%, you're not giving 100% to your team. And much like the contentment that you're talking about, if you're content, your culture is content. If you're not challenging yourself, your culture isn't challenged. And so you're not growing. You're not providing. And
then your team sees that, Nick's not doing this. Or, well, last month, Nick was freaking in my inbox 30 days of the month.
Right.
I haven't heard from him in 2 weeks. Like, your team of people that you coach, mentor, work with, they're going to notice that you've become lackadaisical. You've become lazy. Like, don't get me wrong. There's things that happen in our life. You're going to have ebbs and flows. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have things that happen that kind of shift you off, but you have to keep challenging yourself. You got to get uncomfortable. You got to go push and raise the bar on a regular basis.
Once you figure out how to challenge yourself, you then have to turn into making that consistent, right?
Absolutely.
Too?
It's just like anything. I mean, I could get into growing this beard. Like, it didn't happen overnight. And like, it gets that itchy stage and you just want to cut it off, but you got to let it keep going. And then you get these little, it's you got to brush it, you got to groom it, you got to shampoo it. It is like, the beard is, it's like watching paint dry, but it's also consistently maintaining it. And are you being consistent with your DMOs? Totally different Zoom topic. We're not going to get into DMOs. If you're watching this Zoom and you don't know what a DMO is, get with your coach, get with your mentor, get with your circle of champion, and coach with them directly. And if you can't find who you're supposed to work with, reach out to Brian James or whoever introduced you to ketones so you can figure this out. I'm not here to teach on that. Are you focusing on the 8 local environments? If you don't know what the 8 local environments are, go to the Keto Movement YouTube page. Brian James did a whole Zoom series on the 8 local environments. But you got to be getting together with your team. I didn't even really know Becky other than she was my neighbor 3 months ago.
Right.
We see each other at least twice a week now, sometimes more than that. Like last month when we had all the promos, we were hanging out like almost 3-4 days a week.
Right.
And it's like getting in front of people. Like, don't just hide behind the keyboard. Like, go out and meet the people that are coming to your team. And it also goes to how you're getting people started. Like, are you consistently getting everybody started the same way, or are you just getting certain people started a certain way because you see that maybe they have more potential, or this person, they're going to be awesome, I need to go work with them. This person, they don't seem to be that big of a rock star. We'll just sign up and let them go.
The other thing could happen though too. You're like, oh, this person knows what they're doing, so we're just going to let them alone. And then you want to spend more time over here, and you've got to make sure that you're onboarding so that everybody feels like they have the tools to be able to set these things, challenge themselves, and be consistent themselves.
We have to be consistent with everything, and it goes back to challenging and taking care of yourself. Like, if you're not drinking enough water, if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not exercising, if you're not taking care of your health, and you're like meditating and all the reading books, like reading books is huge. Are you being consistent with that? Like, I was really, really consistent the first year in Pruvit with audiobooks and reading books, and I kind of dwindled off there a little bit because I wasn't driving that consistent hour to and from my job anymore. So I lost consistency with my reading, and I'm re-picking that back up, and I had to retrain how to do that, and I had to recreate that habit. Whereas if I would have just kept that habit going, if I would have kept it consistent and kept challenging myself to get 24 audiobooks or 24 paperback books read in a year, I lost touch with it. So I became inconsistent, which I can look back and I can see where my business plateaued and became inconsistent. But the other thing with consistency too is I didn't realize that I've always been content being Nick Couch, 185-pound, 32 waist person. I didn't realize that I became content with it, that this is just me. Like, I'm just going to have this normal everyday body. I'm not going to lift weights. I don't have time for that. I just became content. Well, September 4th, I woke up, and I don't know what sparked that day, but I realized that I was playing too small. I wasn't taking my fitness seriously, and fitness plays a huge role in more than just the physical changes. Like, there's a saying out there that exercise is the most underused antidepressant in the world. Like, I just feel better when I work out. And I committed, we talked about commitment earlier, I committed to being consistent with my workouts. And I've seen such major changes in not only the amount of weight that I'm able to lift now, but the changes in my body. My shirts are getting tighter in the good areas, not in the bad areas. And my thighs have gotten bigger because I'm squatting more weight. And it's really cool to look back at my workouts, because I document and I track everything that I'm doing, to see that, wow, last month I was squatting 100 pounds less than this month. Like, I'm seeing the results because I've been consistent to my commitment. And you can apply the workout concept, the beard concept, to anything. Like, it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to build this. You're not going to join Pruvit and your first, like, some people look like they've had an overnight success, but they've, like Brian James will tell you all the time, it was a 13-year overnight success. So don't expect to be a freaking rank 10 legend your first month in Pruvit. There's some people that may have done that, but you didn't see what they did for the 10 years prior. They've been consistent to their commitment for over a decade for that to happen. And you just have to constantly, so we also set some things up to help you make sure that you're not becoming content, and how to keep self-assessing and raising the bar. So make sure you're constantly setting new standards. Whenever you get good at something, raise the bar, set a new standard. Just do it. Like, if you commit to something, if you commit to these DMOs, freaking wake up and do it.
And do it again.
And do it again.
And again.
And again. And again and again and again and again. Like, just don't stop doing it. And whenever you think that what you're doing is not working, I promise you it is. As long as you're actually doing productive things, it's going to work. And when you don't think it's working, you'll get a text message in your phone from somebody thanking you or pointing out that, hey, I appreciate everything you do. You're like, there's just, you'll know. Just don't let off the hammer. I'm telling you, if you can commit to your consistency of these daily activities, it will pay off. But constantly assess your progress. Like, hey, what was my new volume last month? What's my new volume this month? What was my group volume last month? What's my group volume this month? Like, maybe every 5 days, every 10 days, write down for the month what you did in your group volume at that day. And then the next month, on the 10th, compare this month, am I tracking ahead? On the 15th, am I tracking ahead? On the 20th, am I tracking ahead? On the 30th, did I finish this month better than last month? Did I break a new rank? Do I have new MVPs? Do I have new all-stars? Am I getting people started properly? There's ways to launch and onboard people. Those have been talked about in other Zooms, so I'm not going to get into that. And then Pruvit's really good about debriefing. This Zoom that we're recording right now, Brian James has a group of people. We coordinate who's doing what training. And as soon as this gets published to YouTube, to the cloud, to the world, there's going to be about a dozen people in a private messenger thread that give me feedback. Like, hey, Nick, you did really good at this. Could have done better at this. And this is what I like the most.
And that's important, though, because
Yes.
that helps you grow as a person.
Yeah, and whenever they say something like, man, Nick, like you went way longer, you stuttered, or you were jumping around your notes, you weren't organized. Like whenever they give me something I did, something that I could have done better, whenever it's like a negative feedback, I don't sit there and wallow in the crap like, oh man, like so-and-so said that. No, I need to take that as a positive, as a constructive criticism, and then I need to apply it and become better at that weakness. We need to double down on our weaknesses. Like,
if you don't change some of that behavior, you go back to being content, though, too, because you keep doing
you're
it.
just stuck
People
in
don't
that spin
recognize it,
cycle.
and you are, and you don't move it forward, and you don't challenge yourself to look at the things that people are providing.
And then you make
feedback on.
excuses and you blame, shame, and justify why you're not getting the result. My rank went backwards this month because so-and-so said something about so-and-so, and Tommy's hanging out with Billy, and her smart ship turned off, or Pruvit had too many promos. You'll come up with some BS excuse that you'll believe in your head because you're not doing the things that we're talking about in the Zoom. You're not doing your DMOs. Your fitness is one of them. Working out. You don't have to go lift weights. Go for a walk. Meditate. Like sit on the exercise bike and send messages. Like walk on the treadmill and put your laptop there. Walk on the treadmill and listen to an audiobook. Like if you're not doing these things over and over and over and over and over again, you're not going to get the results, and then you're going to be all upset why you're not getting results. And the only difference between me at rank 7 and Becky at rank 3, 2, I've been doing this longer. I've been doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it more than she has. I've talked to more people about ketones. I've had more local environments than Becky. So don't get stuck in the comparison game either, because that will cripple you. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, so-and-so signed up last month. They just passed my butt. Or who cares? You don't know what they've done before. You don't know where they're come from. Or just do you.
Right.
And do it. And then you have to keep raising the bar and stop playing small. Like whatever level you think you can build this to, that's where you're going to build it to. If you think, oh, there's no way I could be a rank 10, you're never going to get to rank 10 because you only think you can hit rank 3.
Right.
You have to keep raising the bar, challenging yourself, learning new things. Like you want to mentor? Listen to some books. Like I can go get with Tony Robbins anytime. I can throw a pair of headphones in and listen to Tony Robbins. I don't have to go hang out at his house or meet with him in person. I can listen to him teach. And if I take the things I learn in the books and I apply them and I challenge and raise the bar and do it, all these things clumped into one. Just repeat. It's just like your iTunes. Put the song on repeat. Put these things on repeat and just go. Don't look back. Just go. Self-evaluate. Debrief. Get feedback. Keep raising the bar. Don't be a bum. Let's go. Anything else on the closing of that?
No, I don't think so. Don't become content. Be consistent and challenge yourself.
Yes. And just keep looking at your peer group. Like I follow Brian Underwood. I check in on what he's doing on social media. I go to the events to get around the Brian Jameses, the Sylvia Atheys, the Abigail Klutzes. I go to the Pruvit events for me.
And it's also important to surround yourself with like people,
yeah,
like mindset, like goals.
Show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Yep.
There's so many people, I don't even know who to point that quote to because there's so many people that say that. It's the average. If you hang out with 5 people, I can show you how much is in your savings account. The 5 people you spend the most time with, you're the average of those 5. If you hang out with 5 alcoholics, you'll be the 6th. If you hang out with 5 deadbeats, you'll be the 6th. If you hang out with 5 fat people, I'm not fat shaming. I'm just saying you'll start eating and snacking and not going to the gym. I'm not fat shaming. I'm not talking bad about alcohol. I'm not trying to point the finger. I'm just saying, like, who you surround yourself with is who you become. And she pushes me. We push each other. Like, she plays at a high level with her job. She's applying that at Pruvit now, and we send each other messages of like things happening each day. Like, look what I look like. We challenge each other, and it becomes fun. And challenge your team and have contests. And there's so many C's. I've lost track about it. 4, 5, 6 C's. I don't know. I don't want to get long-winded. Go do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Have a great night, guys.
Again.
Yes, do it again. And when you think you've done enough, do it some
again.
more. Good night, guys.
Bye.